Hello, everyone, and welcome to Austin's Anfield Angle, your AAA grade Liverpool FC podcast where passionate copites resonate. I'm your host, DJ, and we're live from Austin, Texas tonight. Once again, we are doing a post game analysis today. We're going to talk about the game that happened last night. Liverpool took on Fulham at Anfield. It was 2-2 after 90 minutes, and a red card was involved in the game. And we're going to take a deep dive into some of the game analysis. We're going to look at who started the game. We're going to talk about the red card. We're going to talk about the goal, some offside decisions. We're going to talk about refereeing decisions. And, of course, we're going to talk about how Arne Slot and Virgil van Dijk reacted post-game, what they said in their post-match interview as well. So, let's jump right into the starting of the game. So this was a Saturday morning here in Austin. It was a Saturday night in Liverpool at Anfield. Liverpool were, of course, without Alexis McAllister in this game. He's facing a one-match suspension after accumulating 5 yellow cards throughout the season. Aside from that, Costas Tsimikas is injured, so Andy Robertson had to stay in left back. He's been playing a lot of games lately. Alisson Becker was in goal. Joe Gomez was the center back that paired Virgil van Dijk. Unfortunately, Ibrahima Konate is still injured, so he's out. Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right back position. Gravenberg, outstanding as before, number 6. Curtis Jones played in the center midfield with him. Dominic Soboslai, he was the other player to complete that midfield trio, had bundles of energy to do all that running. And, of course, up front, we had the infamous Mohamed Salah, who's been breaking records left, right, and center this season. And, of course, we had Cody Gakpo on the left side. And Luis Diaz, which I did predict in our last game, was going to be ahead of the pecking order, ahead of Darwin Núñez. So that was an interesting lineup. And that's how Liverpool lined up. And, of course, the game started off really quickly. Fulham have taken the approach of using a fast start in all of their games this season. They are really out in a rush. They're pushing and they're closing down Liverpool players. They've done this to other teams as well. They do it on their travels, and they try to put a lot of pressure in the early minutes of the game before players are fully warmed up and settled into the pace of the game. So we saw Fulham create a few chances there in the first couple of minutes. They did try and shake Liverpool with some early pressure, especially Anthony Robinson. He was running down that left flank, giving Trent Alexander-Arnold a lot of problems. Raul Jimenez was trying to close players down in the mid. Of course, Harry Wilson was giving Andy Robertson a hard time. Of course, there was several decisions at the game that we were not too clear about. Curtis Jones had a great opportunity to score very early on, somewhere around the 6th minute. But there was a very hard challenge on Curtis Jones by Diop. I'm not sure what his first name is. He put in a really hard tackle. Looking at replays, there was question marks if that was deserving of a booking or a foul at least. Nothing was given. Of course, a few minutes later, Fulham scored in the 11th minute through Pereira. It was a good cross once again from Anthony Robinson on the left flank. It went above everyone's head. It looked like it was too far for Pereira to reach, but he managed to stretch and get a right foot shot on it. Andy Robertson should have been closer to him, but he was not, unfortunately. And it deflected off Robertson, and it went into the goal, 1-0 to Fulham at that point in time. A few minutes later, we saw Andy Robertson struggle to keep up with Harry Wilson on the right flank. It was mainly because of a pass that came into Andy Robertson's feet, but he couldn't keep it. He took a bad touch, and the ball escaped from his control. Harry Wilson was clean through, and Robertson put in a tackle. Not a sliding tackle, it was a pretty simple standing tackle. But given he was the last man at the time, it was a red card, and he was sent off straight away. There was a check if it was an offside, and it was confirmed that at the time the pass was made, Virgil van Dijk played Harry Wilson onside, meaning that the goal, it was a clean, clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity, and Robertson did, in fact, foul him intentionally, making that a sending off. After the sending off, Liverpool had to readjust how they were going to play. Gravenberg switched from center defense midfield in that number 6 role. He dropped into that center back role. He helped, balance things out. He had the little extra pace in the center back position to help Van Dijk. That was a surprisingly very good tactical decision. I mean, on the bench, you had, a proper center back in Gerald Kwanzaa, who could have come on and you could have just sacrificed a different player somewhere else around the pitch. But no, Arne Slot went with this decision, and I must say it had really impressed me a lot because most managers would just, sacrifice a striker, go into a 4-4-1 formation. That way you don't concede too much. So then you keep a good, strong, solid structure in your game as well. But I was pleasantly surprised with Gravenberg. He filled into that role really easily. It was like second nature to him playing that center back role. I mean, of course, he wasn't tested against some of the best strikers in the world, but of course, still being forced into that position midway through a game when your entire career you're playing a midfielder. So that was really cool to see his versatility. I still think Gravenberg is such a huge talent to have in our team. He's been able to fill in any position he's been thrown into. He's quick, he's strong, he's easy on his turns. He's always able to escape from defenders closing him down. So I think he is a fantastic signing for us. Great to see what he did in his role as center back. Cody Gakpo eventually scored an equalizing goal thanks to a Mohamed Salah cross, which he then jumped in to deliver a diving header to score early in the second half on 47 minutes. That takes him to 7 goals in 9 games at Anfield. So that is a clear indication that Cody Gakpo is in form. He is performing every time he plays at Anfield. He's performing every time he starts. Even if he doesn't score, he's causing opponents a lot of trouble. I have started to really like watching Cody Gakpo play. He is definitely a goal poacher. Surprisingly, he's not a striker. He plays on the wing and likes to cut inside. He does really well to navigate between spaces. We saw him take on Tete and give him a few problems on that side as well. And eventually he did get on the score sheet. So well done there. He got us back into the game. A short while later, I think in the 75th minute or 72nd minute, Liverpool had made a switch they brought on Gerald Kwanzaa. He went straight into the center back position. That allowed Ryan Gravenberg to step back into midfield. They brought on Darwin Núñez, a little bit more injection of pace, hoping that would help. But Darwin Núñez has been pretty low on confidence recently, so I think he was not the most effective when he was playing. He was taking a little too long on the ball. Every time he did get the ball, he was reluctant to take on players, and he was passing the ball backwards and sideways most of the time rather than actually taking attempts on goal. Then, of course, unfortunately, I mentioned Gerald Kwanzaa had come on, and he's Arne Slot has commented on his lack of strength and decision making before. That's why Kanate had stepped into the starting 11, and that's why Kwanzaa was dropped early on in the season. And it was evident again today. Gerald Kwanzaa, he had to defend a counterattack where Robinson from Fulham's left back position pushed forward. Kwanzaa was the man marking him. He should have been a lot stronger in holding off Anthony Robinson. Anthony Robinson had a lot of pace, but it wasn't the pace that beat him. It was actually the strength, where he shrugged off Gerald Kwanzaa and he was holding him off before putting in a dangerous cross across the 6-yard box. And it was Muniz who scored a goal where he got a really cheeky little touch as the ball came in from that cross from Anthony Robinson, and he placed it into the Liverpool goal, giving Fulham the lead, 2-1, and it was really early on. Sorry, it was not very early on anymore in the game. Liverpool probably had like 15 minutes to go. They had to make the most out of the opportunities. Arne Slot had then decided to go ahead and bring on Diogo Jota and Harvey Elliott. These two players were recently returned to the first team training group following long-term injuries, and it looks like Jota is finally back. Jota came in and he scored an excellent goal where he received a pass from Darwin Núñez. Jota is 2-footed, so that's something that has always been an additional threat for a striker that we have. He's 2-footed. He got the ball. He dummied like he was going to take a shot on his left, cut it back onto his right, and he was clean through. And instead of passing it into the far post, he actually placed it into the near post, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way. Just shows the amount of quality and composure this young boy has. He is absolutely fantastic as a player. He is really, really good. He's a real goal poacher. He's a classy finisher. He's probably one of the best finishers Liverpool have got in the team at the moment. And yes, I do mean that even with Salah in the squad. Salah is always a very explosive player, very quick on turns and explosive down the line, putting crosses in, taking shots, dribbling really good. But as a goal scorer and a finisher, someone who actually places the ball the best into the goal under high moments of pressure, someone who has that additional bit of composure to play that center forward role, I think Diogo Jota is our best bet. If he remains fit for the rest of the season, I am actually highly confident that Liverpool could win the title this year. It really relies on Jota's ability to stay fit. And a similar comment was made last season when Jurgen Klopp was in his final few months at Liverpool, and Jota had picked up an injury. And because of the injury, he could not see out the rest of the season, and Liverpool fell short of their title challenge last season. So just a personal opinion there, but definitely the outstanding news is Jota is back. He only played a few minutes, but he scored the equalizing goal to get it back to 2-2 for Liverpool. And we finally ended the game on that scoreline. So points were shared. Interesting conversation pieces, Arne Slot and Virgil van Dijk were both interviewed by the Premier League group post-match. Van Dijk made a very interesting statement. He said him and several other players from the Fulham team felt that the referee was extremely nervous before the game, which actually indicates that the referee was probably in a position where he was not being able to make the best decisions. And this would impact the overall outcome of the game, right? Van Dijk's complaint is basically, referees are actually given the privilege where they're not allowed to be surrounded by players and questioned by players. The only player on the pitch that is allowed to talk to a referee is the captain. And Van Dijk and the captain from Fulham both felt that the referee was a little nervous today. He was probably not the friendliest to talk to. He was a little cold. He did not seem to communicate as clearly. I'm not sure why this was the statement made by Virgil van Dijk, but all I can just say is that Tony Harrington, who was the referee for the game, was probably not at his best based on the comments made by some of the Liverpool and Fulham players. Um, was it really an error in the red card? Was it an accurate decision? Yes. So I think it was a red card. Definitely Robertson did pull out a foul there. We have seen some games where, softer tackles have gone in and people have gotten sent off. We also can say that, there have been harder tackles gone in and players have gotten away with a yellow card. So we don't really have a clear indication of how severe a challenge is and what the actual card outcome should be. Does the Premier League have a special rule book? Does it have a special description? Because to me, if it is a harsh challenge, if it is a sliding tackle, it's 100% red card. If it's an intentional foul, yes, it's most likely going to be a card. But the manner of the foul also plays a role in what card you get awarded. So if it was a sliding tackle, if I was pulling his shirt, if I was putting an elbow in and I was putting my hand out and pushing him away, then yes, that is definitely a red card. But if it was just, using your foot and you actually just tried to kick the ball, and of course you were not going to get there, but, you kicked him pretty low on his foot. Yes, it's a foul, but it's not the worst ever. So I think a yellow card might be in consideration there. But then again, that's my opinion. So we at Austin Anfield Angle can be a little bit biased to Liverpool. And I think it's something we all understand why, because, we're diehard Copites in our hearts, and we want to see the best that comes out for Liverpool, right? Regardless, we hope to see better decision making in the future. Of course, when you talk about red cards, there were several incidences where Ryan Gravenberch was tackled. Curtis Jones was tackled really hard, and those were red card question marks too. But there was no card awarded to the Fulham players. So why is this happening? Did Tony Harrington miss those decisions? Did he not realize what he was doing? Well, we don't know, but I think Tony Harrington he has defended some of his decisions in a post game statement, but end of the day, being Liverpool, we can't be complaining about what had happened by decisions made by a referee. Liverpool were just not good enough to some extent. They didn't take their chances. They were a little bit leggy at the back. They were making the mistakes. They should have been sharper. They should have been on their toes from the first minute. And unfortunately, it is Liverpool that has to take responsibility for that. They were the home team. They should have come out guns blazing. But instead, Fulham took them for a ride, right? So credit to Fulham. They put out a great fight. They almost came away with 3 points. Unfortunately for them, Liverpool do have the nickname Mentality Monster, so they came back really hard and pushed on and almost got a winning goal there. But yes, like I said, 2-2 the final score. Some other topics there to talk about. We're looking at losing players right now. We do know that Arne Slot was booked, and he will get a touchline ban. We were without McAllister today. Now Andy Robertson has a red card, so he will serve a one-match ban. We do have several other players with injuries. Kanate is out. Connor Bradley is out. Simicast is out. Who else do we have? We've got a few players who are still injured coming back to full fitness. And Chiesa is another player there. And we do recognize that, having suspensions is not going to add any more value or help us out in this situation. And so I think, it's something for Arne Slot to go back into the drawing board and just reconsider how his team should be playing their games, how aggressive they should be starting, and if they should have better management of the game from the first minute, especially when they have teams like Fulham come and play extremely strong and hard from the first minute. Um, Anthony Robinson, once again, he was very, very impressive against Mohamed Salah. That was something we are going to talk about. I mean, I know we had a man down, but just reconsidering the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right side and Mohamed Salah on that wing, and Anthony Robinson was getting so much time and space and opportunity to push up front. Salah and Alexander Arnold just could not seem to contain him. Even the second goal that went in was actually a Robinson cross that made it go in. The first goal was also a Robinson cross that Pereira managed to get his boot on, rather acrobatically, I would say. But my point is this going to be a problem? Is this an area of concern? We both know that Salah is someone who will keep pushing forward. We do know that Alexander Arnold has got a mean cross and he's got a fantastic eye for passing, which we want him to actually progress forward to make use of that skill. But when you do that and you don't have a player like Kanate at the back, you can see that he is going to leave a lot of gaps. And players like Robinson, who have so much pace, would relish playing against this combination. What does this mean for Arne Slot? Does he have to change up some tactics? Does he have to reassess some things? Or does he have to get, a backup player to cover when Trent Alexander steps into midfield or advances forward? That's what we used to do before. But of course, in today's game, was slightly different because we did not have 11 men on the pitch. That's just one point of view from me. I definitely think it might become an area of concern, especially given the amount of games that we'll be playing over the months. It will become an area where players would have to keep chasing down, closing gaps, and they won't be able to track back in time. So Salah is not as fast as he used to be. He is still really fast, but he may not be dropping as quickly to back up Alexander Arnold, and we might be needing someone in that midfield or center back position to sweep up stuff that happens around that gap. So that's one thing for sure. But hats off to Anthony Robinson. He definitely played a fantastic game for Fulham there today. Other than that, the style of gameplay from Fulham, they've been very impressive. Playing out from the back very confidently against top of the league Liverpool team. They have been able to use their center backs to distribute the ball and then get their wingers inverted into cutting in, allowing the left back and right back players like Robinson to actually overlap on the outer side of the field, giving them the opportunity to put in low crosses in. And exactly that's what happened, the low cross in the second goal. When they do have Raul Jimenez in there, they do put higher crosses in. But with Van Dijk and Jimenez, I would still say Van Dijk would win the aerial duel. But, with other smaller sized players, it might be best to always use a grounding pass or a grounding cross. And we saw that happen today. So Harry Wilson was also a very impressive player, former Liverpool Academy graduate there. So a little bit annoyed that he played that well against us. He should be doing that against the other teams for me. Yeah, but that was just my personal opinion. Well done, Harry Wilson. Liverpool still supports you and still loves you for what you do. So moving on into just the final bit here about the game. Liverpool now still sit in first place They are ahead by 2 points again, ahead of Chelsea, but they do have a game in hand. So we've got Liverpool on 36 points, Chelsea second place 34 points, Arsenal in third place with 30 points, and in fourth place is actually Nottingham Forest with 28 points. So Liverpool do have a game in hand, um, and that was because of the Everton game that got canceled the week before. So there's still an opportunity to, grow on that 2 point lead right now against away from Chelsea, but that will be a game that will only be played much later on. So what does this do for Liverpool? Yes, we do know there's a lot of games in the season. Next week is actually a really big game where Liverpool take on Tottenham Hotspurs. It will be played out at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, and that will be a 10:30 a.m. kickoff here in Austin. It will be a Sunday morning game. That is the next Premier League game, of course. Liverpool will be in action midweek, and that will be against Southampton. It will be held at St. Mary's Stadium. It is the EFL Cup game Wednesday, December 18th, 2 p.m. here in Austin, Texas. I do believe Liverpool will be reshuffling their team a fair bit, given the injuries they've had, the suspensions they've had. Robertson and Arne Slot would both serve their one-match suspension in this game, allowing Liverpool to be able to feel a full-strength team with their presence come the game on Sunday against Tottenham. So still check your local listings and definitely tune in to that game. Liverpool are in the quarterfinals against Southampton. Winning that will put them into the semis. That would be a really good position to be in, given it's Arne Slot's first season for Liverpool. Um, of course, like I said, with the injuries we've had, the suspensions we've got, we need all the players back and fit as soon as possible. December is always a rushed fixture schedule period. A lot of players will need to stay on top of their fitness. And of course, with the holidays coming in and Christmas and New Year's, a lot of these players need time off and they spend time with their families as well. So it is always a big requirement in and demand in the European football world. And Liverpool players will definitely be trying to stay on top of their game. My personal concern is definitely with the fixtures coming up. Any little bit of injuries we get, or even right now, we don't really have additional defenders. The good news is we do have the January transfer window opening up really soon. So when that happens, we would definitely be able to sign someone or bring someone in on loan. Who is that going to be? I don't know. But my fingers are crossed, and I'm hoping for the best. Hopefully, our injured players come back, the players suspended come back, and we'll have a full squad to choose from for the remainder of December this year. All right, then. So that brings us towards the end of our show for today. We will issue another short update on Wednesday night after the EFL Cup game. We will touch on a little bit on how the game has gone, whether Liverpool win. We'll look forward to the upcoming game against Spurs on Sunday, and we'll touch base a little bit on that as well. All right, so that pretty much is it for our show today. We will keep you informed and we'll keep you in the loop about future discussions. We are still working out our plans for a video transition. We will most likely be at the Spurs game this coming Sunday at BD Riley's in Austin at Mueller. So come by and join us. Austin's Anfield angle. We'll be talking to fans. We'll be talking to players. We will be looking forward to that game, and hopefully it goes Liverpool's way. So once again, just want to say thank you to everyone who's been supporting us. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for the likes, the follows, the subscriptions, and the shares. Please continue to do so. Tell your friends about it. We're trying to grow this little Austin Anfield Angle group for Liverpool supporters based in Austin. We're very soon going to start kicking off our conversations with Liverpool fans on one-to-one interviews. We will include them on the overall podcast. We will slowly branch out and start talking to more, leagues and players with Liverpool fans. It's basically going to give us a platform for Liverpool fans to come talk and share their opinions on the game. So that will be exciting. And we look forward to your continued support as we grow Austin's Anfield Angle from strength to strength. So thank you once again, everyone. Have a good night.